All right, today we're going to dive into a really powerful and kind of new professional track that's popping up out of the chaos of modern creative teams. It's called Design Ops. So let's get right into it. Does this sound a little too familiar? It's this weird paradox that so many design organizations are running into. As the teams get bigger and bigger, something strange starts to happen. The actual work of designing gets totally bogged down, just buried under this avalanche of meetings, coordination, and just inefficiency.
I mean, come on, we've all heard this, right? Or maybe we've been the one desperately asking it. And yeah, it seems like a small thing, but it's a sign of a much bigger problem. It's this constant drain on everyone's time, on their energy, and honestly, on their creativity, because designers are stuck hunting for files instead of crafting great experiences.
And it's not just about files. It's about the people. When bringing a new designer onto the team feels like this never-ending cycle of confusion, you know the system is broken. Look, these aren't just individual failings. They're symptoms that a really important operational backbone is completely missing. So the big question is, how do we fix this? Well, that's exactly what we're going to break down today. We're going to start by really unpacking this modern design paradox, and then we'll define design ops as the solution. From there, we'll look at its two key roles, why this whole thing is crucial right now, what a career in it actually looks like, and finally, what it all means for the future of design.
So let's just start with the problem. Once UX became absolutely central to business, design teams just exploded in size. But all that growth created this massive amount of friction. More people, way more tools, and just more complexity meant that the old ways of working just couldn't scale. And the result? The very people we hired to design are spending less and less of their time actually doing it.
Okay, so this is where the solution comes into play. Design ops. The easiest way to think about it is like DevOps, which totally changed the game by smoothing out the path between software development and IT operations. Well, design ops is that strategic answer to the chaos that's been plaguing design teams. At its absolute core, design ops is about intentionally designing the way design happens. It's not about pushing pixels around a screen. It's about designing the whole system, the workflows, and the culture that lets designers do their absolute best work with the least amount of friction possible. And we can really break this down into three main pillars. First up is process. This is all about standardizing everything, from how a project even starts to how it gets handed off to developers, all to eliminate those bottlenecks. Second, you've got tools and system. This is about building and managing the actual infrastructure. Think your entire Figma organization, the design systems, all the automation pipelines. And third, and this is a big one, is people and culture. This is about orchestrating the entire designer experience, from the day they're hired to their career growth, making sure people can really thrive. I love this way of putting it. It's just perfect. Design ops pros are basically the stage crew for the main performance. They're not the actors on stage, but let's be real, without them, the show just can't go on. Now, this field of design ops is pretty broad, and what we're actually seeing happen is that it's splitting into two pretty distinct specializations. And understanding this split is really key to seeing how the whole profession is growing up. So on one side, you've got the design engineer. This person is super technical and lives at that intersection of design and code. And then on the other side, you have the design operations manager, who is much more of a systems thinker, focused on the processes, the people, and the overall strategy of the entire design org. And believe me, their day-to-day looks completely different. The design engineer, they're deep in the code, implementing components, connecting design tokens to the actual CSS, and running tests. They're basically a hybrid of a designer and a front-end developer. Meanwhile, the design operations manager is architecting the system. They're defining workflows, managing resources, and designing onboarding processes. They're more of a hybrid architect and a skilled mediator.
So you might be wondering, why is all this happening now? I mean, 10 years ago, these roles barely even existed. Well, this is no accident. It's a direct response to some major shifts in the industry.
It was really a perfect storm of three powerful forces that all came together. First, design teams went from being a handful of people to dozens, sometimes even hundreds. At that scale, just simple coordination becomes a full-time job. Second, the tool chain, Figma, Jira, Storybook, the whole shebang. It became this incredibly complex ecosystem that needed a specialist to manage it. And third, the rise of AI. All of a sudden, generating designs is cheap, but managing them, testing them, and shipping them reliably, that is not. The competitive edge isn't just in creation anymore, it's in operation. And for that, you need a system.
And that's really the tipping point, right? What used to be a little side job for a lead designer or a helpful developer, it became this massive, critical function. It had to become professional. It demanded dedicated experts. And that, my friends, is how a new job is born.
Okay, so now let's make this personal. We've talked about why organizations need this role, but could this be a path for you? Let's take a look at the kind of person who thrives here and what a career roadmap might look like.
So ask yourself this. Do you obsess over pixel quality but then find yourself thinking even more about the process that created it? Do you actually enjoy being the translator between designers, developers, and product managers? Are you that person in the room who just can't stop themselves from asking, wait, why is this so inefficient? If any of that sounds familiar, you might just have the natural DNA for design ops.
And look, there's a pretty clear path forward. You might start out as a product designer or a front-end developer. From there, maybe you take ownership of a design system, and then you specialize. You either lean into the super technical side as a design engineer, or you go for the operational side as a design ops manager. And ultimately, this path can lead to a major leadership role, like head of design ops, where you're shaping the entire design capability of a company. So what does this all really mean for the future? This isn't just about a new job title. It's a fundamental shift in how we think about the value and the actual practice of design itself. For years, our whole industry has been completely obsessed with mapping the customer journey, right? We pour endless energy into making that experience totally seamless. But we've pretty much ignored the journey of the very people who are creating those experiences. Design ops is about finally designing that invisible journey, making the path for the creators just as smooth as the one we build for our customers. And that just hits the nail on the head. The next frontier of design excellence isn't just about individual talent. It's about engineering your entire organization's ability to deliver incredible design, repeatably, reliably, and at scale. It's about making the whole system smarter. Which leaves us with one final thought. Right now, as we speak, this profession is being created. The standards are being set. So the real question is, are you going to be someone who helps create and define this critical role, or will you be applying for it after it's all been established? For now, at least, that choice is yours.